Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day? Ain't it a great day?
Hello everyone, my name's Dean, let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is August 18th, 2025, and far too many are underestimating this Bitcoin downtrend. Far too many are underestimating this very dangerous Bitcoin downtrend. And I'll say this is indeed, thus far, what we call pure impulsive price action. I'm going to explain why this downtrend is so dangerous. I'm going to explain what we're seeing in the immediate short term on the small time frames, and why time after time, candle after candle, Bitcoin is very clearly expressing the downtrend, the anatomy of a downtrend, meaning lower highs, lower lows, systematically printed on the charts. Guys, if that all sounds interesting to you, then watch until the very end. Hope everyone's having a great day. Let's get into it. What is Bitcoin saying? All right, so the high time frame perspective is important for those of you who don't know my work, who are not familiar. I've been calling for a strong move down. I've been calling for it for quite some time, while we, in my estimation, have been going sideways in this almost 300-day channel. Okay, I've been saying this is a dangerous zone. This is a dangerous zone because, to me as an analyst, this is what we call a distribution, a Wyckoff distribution. It's basically where people sell supply. Okay, they sell supply very slowly over an extended period of time. So it's not necessarily anywhere you look for a big move up. Now, it so happens that within these zones of distribution, you do sometimes make higher highs, sometimes make all-time highs, but that doesn't negate the fact that this entire thing should be regarded as a bearish distribution, as a sideways, long-term sideways consolidation that eventually leads to a massive drawdown. Okay, so that's the high time frame view. Very many indications on the chart showing us that Bitcoin is targeting 55K or thereabouts. I can show you weekly charts showing that. I can show you indicators showing that. And I have, but I'm not going to rehash that analysis once again in this video. If you're interested in that analysis, I invite you to check out my previous videos, right? I've been talking about that for quite some time now, especially now that we've gotten confirmation or high we've gotten a very strong confirmation is not the word I'm looking for. Strong indication, because confirmation is in the eye of the beholder. There is no such thing really truly as confirmation in technical analysis, but they're high probabilistic outcomes. And we've gotten a very high probabilistic outcome that not only will this happen, but it's happening. Okay, so that's a high time frame view. Small time frame, smaller time frame. Let's go on the 4-hourly. All right, the past couple weeks, right? You've gotten these very strong indications that this is it. That whatever you've been doing at these levels on the chart, the sellers are in control. Okay, you try and put in a higher high and you reject and you make a lower high. Okay, so it's like this is a swing failure pattern. It's a series of swing failure patterns, right? You try to make a higher high and you go lower than the previous consolidation. You do it once again, you go lower. You do it a third time and you go lower. That is, if anybody who has any kind of fluency in reading charts knows exactly what that means. If you're honest, okay? Not everybody's honest with themselves, and not always because you want to be dishonest. It's just because it's going against your better self-interest, right? If you're highly invested, it's very difficult to see a trade thesis that goes against your better interest, that says you're about to lose a lot of money. It's tough. So I'm not trying to cast any aspersions and saying people are being dishonest with themselves. We all do it. It's part of the battle we face as traders and analysts that all the while invest in the market. But right here, you have very strong indications of what we call swing failure patterns. It's a failure of the chart to make higher highs. And once again, I draw your attention to the higher time frame analysis and my higher thesis that's been my thesis for the duration of this price action, almost 300 days. This is a massive distribution channel. It doesn't matter if you're at 77. It doesn't matter if you're at 124. It's still within the bounds of this channel. I know it's very tough for people to understand, and a lot of people say, you're an idiot. You're calling for lower. You were calling for lower 2 months ago. Yes, I understand that. But I'm going to put that aside. This isn't for everybody. High time frame analysis, looking, trying to spot big moves isn't for everybody. Most people, they don't have the patience or maybe the understanding to do that. So they'll be caught in the throes of the big moves because they'll be caught unawares by it and saying, oh, this is manipulation, or this is this, or this is that. That is just how the market works. There's nothing, wrong about that. That's just a normal market function. There's always going to be a bunch of people caught off sides on these moves because not everybody reads the market. Not everybody's interested in reading the market. But so the high time frame, we saw these swing failure patterns in context of this more likely than not being the top resistance of this larger channel. You can even take it further, and I know I said I wouldn't talk about high time frame analysis, but you can take it further. You can say that there's a resistance here, right? I know I drew it here. You can see I drew a resistance up here, but you can also draw that resistance like this or something like this. Do you see? You're in any case at resistance. You're at a very high time frame resistance, and it's fine to be at resistance because resistances, they exist to be broken. They exist to be broken. They will be broken. Supports are broken. Resistances are broken, right? It's not anything that lasts forever, but there are ways in which resistances are broken, and this isn't one of them. And showing weakness at high time frame resistances is dangerous, and I use that word very, very purposefully. Dangerous. Too many people are taking this too lightly because it goes back to what I've been talking about. Everybody, whether consciously or not, formulates a high time frame or a high time frame trade thesis, and in their minds everything sort of works to serve that trade thesis. So if they're saying this isn't bullish or bearish, it's just a healthy retracement. I see it a lot. Healthy retracement, a healthy retracement. We're still at 115. Very nice. Six figures. We're strong into six figures, and we've been at six figures for so long. You'd be silly to think that anything crazy is going to happen. That's the mentality. And why is that? Why do they really, truly, and genuinely believe that? It's because they're in their minds. There's something called a cycle, and they've understood this cycle, and the cycle tops in Q4, and they're sure of it. And so Bitcoin will go to 150K or will go to 135K or will go to whatever number that they've put in their minds. And so they are not exactly sure how it's going to get there, but it's going to get there. and it's going to get there soon, and we're on the path to that target, and that's where they're going to consider selling, but not any time before. This doesn't fit with the higher thesis. This is the danger, right? The danger isn't that people can't read price action. I know, yes, it's true. Many people, they can't read a chart to save their lives. That's true, but a lot of people can. A lot of people recognize resistances and supports. But once you put high time frame theses, and this is why I always say, look at what you call a cycle. Look at what you define as cycles, because it all starts from there. That is the seed of ignorance, in my estimation, of what I see perpetrated or proliferated in our space. People are convinced that they've mastered Bitcoin's trading cycle, and they know exactly when it's going to top. They can give you a quarter or even a year where it's going to top, and they can give you a relative level, and it's happened every single time. Like, that's the ignorance that leads people to blindly consider what is happening on the charts as benign when it's extremely risky. Now let's get back into the small time frame, what I'm calling super dangerous price action. Okay, so you have, over the course of a couple weeks, a few swing failure patterns at really crucial high time frame resistance. I'm talking multi-year high time frame resistance. And this move in particular on the small time frame, so right now we're on the 4-hourly intraday, is even more evidence of Bitcoin saying, I'm in a downtrend and I'm not stopping. Look at what we've done. And so the last video, I basically focused on this right here, this channel right here. And I said, this channel is where you want to see Bitcoin. If you want to see Bitcoin bullish again, you're going to have to overcome this channel. Forget everything else. Forget everything else. This channel of 4+ days, you're going to have to overcome this channel. You're going to have to take it over. You're going to have to show bullishness in that channel. Furthermore, even though Bitcoin's been in a 30+ day, right, at a 30+ day level, and that was 2 videos ago, I said Bitcoin is looking very shaky on support. It doesn't look like it's going to hold this support. You can also see, like, okay, this support is broken, but, you know, it's all within context. This support was being held, or tentatively held, if you want to call it that, by this channel right here. And this channel broke down. Again, in the previous video, I said, if you're bullish, what you want to see is us coming down into the midline of the channel, finding strength at that midline, and then overcoming that channel. That essentially would lead to Bitcoin making support on 30 days of resistance. So flipping 30 days of resistance into support and then moving bullish. So what's happened since, you know, last video, almost 24 hours ago? We lost the channel and we're confirming previous resistance as new resistance. Now this is officially a swing failure pattern. Remember, swing failure patterns are when you go and you're like, oh, I got this, I don't got it. This is the I failed to hold support. The selling pressure is too much and this was lost. And now I always talk about midlines, right? So, you know, trading is simple. It's complicated by your emotions and your hopes and dreams and your impatience. It's complicated by a lot of things, but at its base, it's quite simple. And when you look at any channel, any legitimate channel, the key to the channel is the heart line or the midline. That's where all the action happens. If you win the midline, you win the channel. If you lose the midline, you lose the channel. What happened? We lost the midline. We lost the midline and we went down. And just like I said, what we would see if we're bearish is we'd come right back to the midline, retest the midline as resistance. And that's the coup de grace. That's the death knell. That is the final blow to any hopes of breaking the bearish pattern that you've been in since August 14th. So 4 days, you've been in a downtrend, consolidation, downtrend, consolidation, downtrend. Expect more down. That's it. That is it. It's over. And this is what's really dangerous. Now we're going to zoom out a bit because, we talk about danger. Right now, it's not danger, right? Fine. You fell from 124 all-time high all the way down to 116. Forget the price. It's not about the price. It's all about the price action. People who focus too much on price, they lose the forest for the trees. Look at the story that Bitcoin's trying to tell you. Okay? And I have volume on. I'm not a big indicator guy. You guys know me. But I have volume on because it tells you more of the story. Let's go on the daily time frame. What's the story volume's telling you? Oops, sorry. Let me fix my chart. All right. I can't stand when this happens. Let me fix my chart. Sorry, y'all. If I can. All right, let's see. I'm going to just restart this. Sorry about that. All right. We're back. Let me go back into Bitcoin. Okay. So what does volume tell us? Volume tells us, if you pay attention, where price wants to go. It tells us what is actually happening. I think the 4-hourly time frame. Yeah, we're on the four. Let's see. Is it hourly? Yeah, hourly tells us a really good story here. So look at the volume when we're going down. Look at the volume when we're going down. Look at the volume when we're going down. And now compare it to the volume when you're going up. Compare it to the volume when you're going up. Compare it to the volume when you're going up. The price and the volume are telling you where the momentum is. It's telling you where the strength in the chart is. That's the first aspect of what I'm saying. It's dangerous because this move is what we call pure impulse. The volume's telling you, I'm not playing around. I'm not just going side to side and then, just so happen to move up or down in a larger side to side context. No, I've got, remember what impulse and trend means. An actual trend, an actual impulsive trend is supported by volume. It has a goal, it has a target, which is a level of supply or a level of demand, and it's not stopping until it gets there. And it can go and it can take breaks and it can go sideways a bit once or twice, but it will get there. And it will get there by hook or by crook, and it's going to find the path of least resistance to get there. And of all of the functions or the movements in price action, it's the quickest, it's the most violent, it's the most straight line. People are not appreciating that. It's been a while since we've been in any pure impulsive price action. This is pure impulsive price action. Now let's turn off the volume. Let's zoom out and see what's really dangerous about this. Okay. 4-hourly time frame. Let's say I'm correct And all right, we've lost this 4-day channel. So what? We're confirming this 4-day channel as resistance. So what? We're just going to come down and hang out at this level, right? 110 or something like that. Let's go on the daily for this. So we lose this likely at this point, if you're being honest. All right, so we just come down here and we hang out over here. That's support, right? Let's turn on our VRVP, visible range volume profile, and I think it'll confirm there's nice support right here. And then there's more support right here, and more support right here, and more support right here. What's the big deal? How dangerous really could it be, right? We've been in a massive, strong uptrend for, since April. And we're not just going to lose that all of a sudden. We're just going to retrace upon it a bit, right? That's what people tell themselves. Now, why is that fool's gold? If you look very carefully at this uptrend, you understand that its base or its foundations are unstable. It's a flat base. Flat bases mean corrective. It means it's very much likely to retrace upon itself. It means that it's part and parcel of a larger flat correction or a 3-wave move. Remember, corrective sequences come in flavors of 3. A, B, C. The C wave, the final wave, is always the impulsive wave, the motive wave. It's very likely that despite going from 78, 77 all the way up to 124 from April to present day, that all that is retraced upon. That's number one, why it's very dangerous. Secondly, why is it dangerous for my support and resistance people? You can say there's support here. You can say there's more support here. You can say there's more support here and more support there. That's true. But is it enough support to support the price in truth? To support the price, and not just support the price, to have enough buyers to reverse the trend? You can have support, but not all support is trend ending support. That's the question you have to answer yourselves. Is the support really support, or is it just a pit stop to an inevitable move down? Okay, and the best answer to that is just by zooming out. What happened on the way up? And I've said this before on the channel. A bunch of green, a bunch of green, a bunch of green, a bunch of green. Where are the sellers? Oh yeah, right, there were none. Now you would come down and balance the chart. This is a massive imbalance. To boot, look at all the different CME gaps that exist just in this area. Don't even think about this yet. Just in this area, and answer the question, is this chart balanced? Is it likely that there's no reason for this retracement? And if there is a reason for this retracement, then you understand why I'm saying this is dangerous, because it hasn't even started yet. So that's Bitcoin. That's why I'm saying people are underestimating this trend down. Now, let's go in to Bitcoin dominance. And just like I said yesterday, Bitcoin dominance was likely to find some support at the bottom of this channel, and it find support it did. And it's doing exactly what we would expect a bullish move up and out of the channel to do. So the first step is to find resistance at the midline and slightly reject off of the midline. That is done. The worst thing you want to do is run right through the midline, because you only know that is not going to hold and you come right back down. So anytime the move that eventually breaks the channel always respects the midline initially, finds support at the midline, or resistance at the midline rather, and then finally breaks the midline, retests the midline, and then leaves the channel. So right now we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance chart showing strength to the upside. Remember, strength in Bitcoin dominance means Bitcoin's probably coming down, the rest of the cryptocurrency market's going down. Last but not least, looking at the total 3, remember what the total 3 is. It's all altcoins minus Ethereum. Yesterday, we talked about this bearish reversal pattern, this head and shoulders playing out more likely than not. We were up here somewhere, and we've come down all the way to the base, okay? What you're seeing here is not a reversal. It's a small it's a small acknowledgement of the fact that this is the neckline or the support level of the bearish reversal pattern. So you do see a small bounce, but what you typically see is that small bounce play out, and then ultimately you break that neckline, and you break it the height of the neckline of the head, rather, superimposed from the side of breakout. So I'm expecting this move right here to bring the total 3 down to around 945 billion for our first move down in altcoins, and then retesting, of course, the neckline as resistance and continuing the downtrend. If the total 3 is showing strong evidence of a downtrend, Bitcoin dominance is showing strong evidence of an uptrend, Bitcoin is very likely breaking down, our overall thesis, not only on the small time frame, on the high time frame, is being confirmed more and more by the candle. Guys, that's it from me. Hope this was helpful, useful. Like, share, and subscribe if you got value. Consider tipping. Litecoin, Venmo, Cash App can be found at the pinned comment below. Consider my crypto portfolio mentorship and consultation service for serious investors, serious traders looking to trade up to 5 altcoins with me. And I give you guidance on what altcoins to trade. There's certain altcoins you probably shouldn't trade because they're not going to do all of the crazy parabolic price action that most altcoins are going to do in this alt season. And I help you further identify levels of support and resistance to maximize your portfolio gains during the course of the bull run. Okay, so that you can sign up to at the pinned comment below. If you're only interested in just getting my insights on one asset, it can be anything in crypto, it can be anything outside of crypto. As long as there's a viable chart, I can give you chart analysis on it. Send me payment through the information in the pinned comment, and I will have a recorded analysis to you within 24 hours, right? So that's all at the pinned comment below as well. More information on that. Last but not least, BTCC, our exchange partner for the channel, is still offering 10% cash back for new users on your first deposit. So if your first deposit is at least 500 USDT or the equivalent of 500 USDT, you can get 10% back on that within a week after making one trade. It can be a spot trade, it could be a lever trade, it doesn't matter. So that is also the details to that, the sign up to that. So at the pinned comment below. That's it. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
I vocalize, too deep to localize, even when I'm right on the surface. You act surprised how I work this, but I can't lie. Many a good alibi. I'll catch you later. Visions are vividly enhanced with emphasis and amethyst to develop morale advantages which help us manifest magnanimous. We body vitals like evangelists. So listen when you're dealing with people who be revealing premonitions with precision. At least that's what I'm aiming at for now. I speak the language of the world, meandering throughout the crowd. Used to feel safe to say anything, but now it's a risk. It's hard for me to let go when all I can do is reminisce. Gone like the wind.